Here is your global news briefing for the last 24 hours as of June 8, 2026. The dominant story is the brief but intense flare-up between Iran and Israel that flared overnight and then quickly cooled after direct intervention from President Trump. It began Sunday evening when Hezbollah fired rockets into northern Israel. Israel responded with airstrikes on the Dahiyah neighborhood in southern Beirut, a Hezbollah stronghold. Iran views strikes this close to the Lebanese capital as a red line. Early Monday, Iran launched around 30 ballistic missiles towards central Israel. There were no reported casualties in Israel from those missiles. Israel then carried out 2 waves of airstrikes inside Iran, hitting military targets, including the large Mashhar petrochemical complex in the south. 15 people were injured in Iran, mostly at that site, and tens of thousands of workers were evacuated. No deaths were reported from the Iranian side in this exchange. Iran's Revolutionary Guards described the operation as a direct response to Israeli actions in Lebanon and warned they would resume if attacks on Hezbollah continue. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said in a video address that Iran had tried to force a new equation which he called unbearable and unacceptable to him. He stated Israel's fire against Iran was now on hold while affirming the right to self-defense. President Trump posted on social media that Israel and Iran must immediately stop shooting and claimed both sides wanted an immediate ceasefire, with final negotiations for a broader Middle East deal close at hand. Reports indicated a tense phone call between Trump and Netanyahu. On the Iranian side, officials spoke of mixing action with diplomacy while positioning the response as part of a strategic doctrine to defend the axis of resistance and shift regional power balances. Iran-backed Houthis in Yemen added pressure by firing a ballistic missile toward Israel and declaring a partial naval blockade on Israeli-linked shipping in the Red Sea. Oil prices jumped, then eased. The whole exchange lasted roughly 15 to 20 hours before both sides stepped back. The deeper picture here is Iran moving from managing proxies to direct kinetic signaling to protect its network and test leverage in ongoing talks. Israel continues trying to degrade Hezbollah capabilities while balancing domestic pressure and American restraint. Trump is playing dealmaker who dislikes open-ended conflicts that spike energy costs. The pause is welcome but conditional. Warnings remain on both sides. Meanwhile, nature delivered its own reminder of vulnerability. A powerful 7.8 magnitude earthquake struck offshore southern Mindanao in the Philippines early Monday. At least 32 to 35 people were killed and more than 200 injured, mostly from collapsing buildings and landslides. Structures came down in General Santos, including parts of commercial buildings. A school roof collapsed in Digos, though students escaped without injury. There were over 180 aftershocks, including a strong 6.5 magnitude one. Small tsunami waves reached the Philippines, Indonesia, and Japan, prompting coastal evacuations, though major flooding was limited. President Marcos mobilized the military and disaster teams. Search and rescue continues amid the aftershocks. Thousands of schools closed, affecting millions of students. This is a stark reminder that in vulnerable regions, preparedness matters more than geopolitics until the ground moves again. On the political front in Armenia, Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan's Civil Contract Party secured nearly 50% of the vote in parliamentary elections and won comfortably despite Russian pressure and interference claims. This strengthens Armenia's westward pivot away from Moscow and has real implications for the Caucasus. Pope Leo XIV was in Spain addressing Parliament for the first time as Pope. He called for respect for migrants' rights and international law, denounced the scourge of sexual abuse by Catholic clergy, and urged a culture of care. He spoke of a profound global spiritual and cultural crisis and polarization while meeting migrants and youth amid a large procession in Madrid. In a week of missile exchanges and transactional deals, his voice stands out as a moral counterpoint. A few other developments worth noting. In Peru, leftist candidate Roberto Sanchez has taken the lead over Keiko Fujimori in the presidential race. A migrant boat capsized off Malta with at least 11 people dead. Sam Bankman-Fried, the former FTX founder serving a 25-year sentence, formally applied for a pardon from President Trump. and Chinese President Xi Jinping visited Pyongyang, pledging support to Kim Jong-un against what he called hegemony.